Hello, and welcome to Neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Church in Pasadena. Welcome to all members, friends, and guests here in person and virtually. My name is Taylor Chazen, and I am a member of your Board of Trustees. Reverend Teresa is taking July for study leave and vacation. Today's service is led by our intern minister, Angeline Jackson, who will be joining us virtually from Jamaica, with music by music director Dr. Zenaida Robles, Wells Lang, and Tony LaBelle. Please take a moment to silence your devices as we begin our service. Thank you for joining us as we continue to prioritize connection over perfection in this hybrid service, which is streamed on YouTube, and we are recording for future viewing. Seating is available in the back for those who want to be sure not to appear in the recording. Based on guidance from our COVID safety team, masks are required for congregants inside and optional outside. You'll find information on our website about the many ways to connect with our church community throughout the week, both in person and virtually. Singers are needed for our Samuel Coleridge Taylor concert and birthday celebration this August 14th. Please see the July newsletter for more information and to register. Contact Dr. Zenaida Robles for more information. Please join the Living Our UU Principles, or LOOP group, today after service in the Cole House living room for the first of our series of focus groups. There will be one more in-person focus group session on August 7th after the service. We will also be having two online focus groups, one this Wednesday, the 27th, and also on Tuesday, August 2nd via Zoom. We welcome everyone's participation in these conversations to help us in improving our social justice programming. Again, welcome to Neighborhood Church, whoever you are and wherever you are in your spiritual journey. Welcome to this inclusive faith community, connected by love, spirit, and service.
We serve with our words, with our actions, putting our bodies in motion on the front lines, behind the scenes, joining rally cries and silent prayers. We enter this time knowing that it is our collective effort that makes this space each Sunday a day we enter this place of intentional connection and spiritual vulnerability. Friends, allow yourself to settle comfortably into your seats and to breathe deeply. Join me now as we feel our way into the service, feel our way into action. If you are at home, I invite you to light your chalice as we do the same here.
Number 12 in the gray hymnal or on the screens above. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing hymn number 12, O Life That Maketh All Things New.
Giving is a spiritual practice through which we put our values into action. Each Sunday, our congregation dedicates 100% of our contributions to a local social justice organization. This week's gifts go to our own Building Bridges Task Force, which was formed in 2010 to forge connections between UUs and Muslims and with the greater community, to stand up with and for Muslims against hate crimes and government assaults on civil liberties, and to educate non-Muslims about Islam. The group's mission is to forge interfaith relationships through joint service projects and social events through which we can learn to understand each other better, support each other better, and stand up with each other better, and to build relationships to bridge separations and differences and work to build a diverse, multicultural, interfaith, beloved community in the Pasadena area. Through education, lectures, and action, members and friends work to break down barriers and inspire solidarity among faith communities. Since 2014, this committee has organized an annual interfaith dinner. Your support helps with the dinner, which was held last Sunday, and will help for future dinners coming up in 2023. Please give generously as you can through our website, text to give, or the QR code or box available at the exit. If you wish to make a payment toward your pledge, make a note in the subject line or use an envelope available at the box outside. Thank you.
Les signes
Our prayer this morning comes from the Tao Te Ching. Can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep its original oneness? Can you let your body become supple as a newborn child's? Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but light? Can you love and lead people without imposing your will? Can you deal with the most vital matters by letting events take their course? Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? Giving birth and nourishing, having without possessing, acting with no expectations, leading and not trying to control. This is the supreme virtue.
Our meditative hymn is number 42 in the gray hymnal. Right from your seats, with a posture that's conducive to the flow of voice and spirit, please join me in singing hymn number 42, Morning So Fair to See.
Our reading today is With Eyes That See by Reverend Marta Valentin. Looking away from my computer screen, my day becomes suddenly arrested by the glory of the maple tree, with its yellow and orange leaves. I see the sun showering it just so. For a moment, it seems to be on fire, the barn beyond it starting to smoke. I laugh, grateful to be halted from mundane things, jolted into the splendor of the natural world. I pause to express my gratitude. Dropping into my heart, I remind myself that even as I behold this splendor, a more spectacular sight, a greater vision of true art, is to see other people. Unlike the marbled kind that fill museums, the real art, the kind artists strive to imitate, sits peacefully right next to us or yells in our faces. The real art is in all the shades of skin, all the textures of hair, all the shapes of bodies. Which ones do you notice first? We see what we want to see and accept into our vision of community what is most familiar. But the true exercise is seeing others as works of art in our communities, is to look for who is not there and should be. When we open our eyes and truly see, we become one with the universal living museum that embraces the beauty of all.
Good morning, neighborhood. The violence doesn't stop. The rallying cry doesn't end. There is still so much to protest, to rally, and march for. We're still angry and sad. We're well aware that there are multiple legal fights to come on a range of issues, and very aware that the work of changing attitudes, hearts, and minds continue. Recently, my baby sister and I were sitting in a parking lot and we were talking about the stresses of our lives. And we broke out into a song from our Sunday school days, which reminded us that troubles and trials would soon be over. Now, I'm not here and I'm not going to tell you that these messes of the world, the legal challenges, all the things that make the world feel upside down, I'm not here to say that they're going to be over soon. Connection over perfection. This is technology at work. All right, all right. So I sometimes find myself going between moments of being able to verbalize my feelings succinctly and moments of failing miserably at that. Regardless, I think that being able to connect with and hold on to our feelings can be beneficial. Something is always requiring our attention, something always needs to be done. And as a result, I think sometimes we're just running from one thing to another, not even having time to process the current moment. Don't worry, I am not going to ask you to say what you're feeling. However, our Lord says, I feel, therefore I can be free. So let's take a little time right now and connect with these feelings. Let's sit and rest a little while. Will you join me now in an exercise of just allowing ourselves to pause in our feelings? We're just gonna allow ourselves to be present with them, nothing else. So breathe with me. Just breathe. Breathe in, one, two, and breathe out. Breathe in, one, two, and breathe out. What are you feeling? You don't need to verbalize it, just sit with it and breathe. What are you feeling? Grateful, appalled, hopeful, exhausted, sad, curious, angry. Happy. Maybe your feeling is best represented in a color. So what's that color? Blue, orange, purple, red, yellow, lavender. Pause, just pause with me and breathe and feel. Breathe with me, in, 1, 2, and out. Breathe in, 1, 2, and out. Breathe in love, hope, joy. Breathe out. Breathe in determination, justice, resilience. Breathe out. And one more time. Breathe in. 1, 2, and breathe out. There's always something happening. There's always something happening in the world, in the country, in your state, something in the city that requires our attention. Something or some things that remind us, just in case we'd somehow forgotten, that patriarchy, misogyny, institutional and structural racism, environmental racism, and climate crises, and white supremacy culture, and that all these remain as obstacles to a world that could value justice and love, and a world that sees each other as neighbors and accepts our responsibility to each other, to the earth we call home, and to the creatures and plants within. Like many of you, I jumped into the work of joining or organizing protests and marching and activism through the written word. Despite all that, sometimes it felt like nothing was changing. Honestly, it still feels like nothing is changing, or that we keep taking steps back. And I found myself falling into despair. In hindsight, I think maybe that sense of despair may have been worse because I was running on anger. I'm not saying anger is bad, trust me. I believe anger can be a great kindling stick, and sometimes we need anger to get us started. But I think that in order to go the distance that we need for all the changes that we wish to see, that we need to have other sources of motivation. We need to pull from somewhere else or many places. Other sources that give us sustenance for the journey to come, overcoming the troubles and trials of our world. I've been exploring the idea that it is possible that we could include love as one of those sources. Indeed, Dr. Cornel West proposes that justice is what love looks like in public. This should be simple. We know the word love. We use it regularly in many different contexts, but probably too loosely. Personally, I love Captain Crunch Berries and Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Doctor Who. But sometimes people use the word love in ways that we disagree with. Like the conservative Christian who loves their LGBTQIA relative or friend, but who opposes their right to a full and healthy life and equality before the law. What is love? Hathaway asks, and Lamarod Owens responds that it isn't what we usually think it is. Bell Hooks proposes that if we could come to a common understanding of the meaning of the word love, maybe we could be more loving to others. In the book All About Love, she says, quote, "Our confusion about what we mean when we use the word love is a source of difficulty in our loving. If our society had a commonly held understanding of the meaning of love, the act of loving would not be so mystifying." Quote. If, as a society, we purport to love each other, yet folks continue to be marginalized, long-established legal precedents are under attack, and environmental degradation continues among the myriad of issues, then it would seem that we really aren't saying the same thing when we use the word love. As a community, neighborhood, love is part of who you are. Your public witness finds sustenance in love. But if we could use words other than love to define who we are and why we do what we do, what words would you use? So I invite you to come reason with me. I'm going to share this QR code for Menti. So if you would join me now on Menti by scanning the QR code on the screen, if you can see it, or by going to menti.com, menti.com, so menti.com, and entering the code 4001 6623. Menti.com, code 4001 6623. There will be 2 questions. How do you define love? And what does love look like in practice in our justice seeking and justice making? After you have finished the first question and you click submit, you can submit more answers to that question, or you can proceed to the next question. If you are on YouTube, you can also drop your answers in the chat. So the website is menti.com, and the code is 4001 6623. How do we define love? Action, presence, appreciation, God, surrender, empathy and joy, intentionality, thoughtfulness, prioritization, devotion, respect, I think I saw, embrace, peace, safety, kindness, relationship, adoration, selflessness, warmth, non-judgment, caring or daring, could be both, beauty, connection, and action, compassion, care, and appreciation stand out in the middle of the words that we could use for love beyond just love itself. When we say I love you, when we say I care, when we say I love you, we are also saying I care. My empathy is present, compassion is there. I am putting action to the things I say. Jamaicans say, but I'm fairly certain other folks do, put your money where your mouth is. You do, not just talk. What does love look like in practice in our justice seeking and justice making? Empathy, welcoming, showing up, resilience, sacrifice, being, thoughtfulness, trust, action, inspiration, supporting organizers, connection, forgiveness, doing, welcoming, mutual respect, inspiration, strength, voting, questioning the status quo. It's interesting how the other words we can use for love also show up in the practice of loving, the practice of our justice seeking and our justice making. I'm going to stop sharing. It says a lot when we find other words to explain the things that we say and think we all mean. But I'm also loving that we're all saying the same thing, neighborhood. In one of my courses this summer, our professor, Dr. Glenn Thomas Rideout, reminded us of the importance of bringing joy into the things we do. It is easy, it's so easy to focus on the things that need to be done to the exclusion of all other things. I don't know about you, but in my tunnel vision for justice, I sometimes forget to sleep, to eat, and to find joy. Because honestly, sometimes you really have to search for joy. Over this year, I've begun exploring ways to bring joy into my life. From fiddling with a harmonica, watercolor brush pens, because I thought paint was too messy, and playing with soap bubbles. I've deliberately been trying to reclaim youthful wonder and joy. And youth don't have a monopoly on wonder and joy, but you get what I'm saying. Joy and playfulness can be important tools and practices for building resilience. So, will you join me in a few minutes of playfulness? James and Taylor, get my stuff. James and Taylor will move around with modeling clay, soap bubbles, crayons or coloring pencils, and pads. Feel free to take any of these items. I know this is not usual Sunday, but take any of these items. There's no instruction. Just take some time to find joy in this activity. What you mold is not important. The process is. Just have fun. Play around with colors on the paper and have a laugh at yourself. I have recently been practicing sketching again, and some of these items I would not want to show to anyone. If you grabbed the soap bubbles, head outside and make some magic. You don't have to stay with any one activity. I think I might use all three, starting with the soap bubbles, since it's in my hand. I'm gonna take about 4 minutes with this activity.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing number 168, One More Step.
Compassion, caring, acceptance, sacrifice, action, 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 action. Doing and understanding, radical acceptance. So many words for love, for what love looks like in practice. Hold them close, remember them, and keep them there. Even when the world feels upside down and nothing seems to be getting better, do not despair, friends. Find what strengthens you and gives you fuel for the journey. Know that help is available. You need only ask. Do love and be love. For love is a verb, as we have seen, a shorthand for care and compassion and understanding, but it is not a shortcut. And finally, remember to bring joy into the things you do. Laugh heartily, smile widely. And if you're still wearing, if you're out in your mask and you're smiling, smile until it reaches your eyes. And play. Play, friends. Thank you.